Hello, welcome to the Light Language Channel After Dark. I'm Charlie, Akashic record reader, multidimensional channeler, medium, neurodivergent millennial, collective being, etc. Uh, and I'm just now noticing this massive zit on my forehead. I have been sick for the last week, and in that time have basically gone through just when you get real close to death, which I do. Every time I get COVID, I always get real close to death because my body and COVID that's how they talk. I always get a chance to go right by the veil every time. And this time, I'm actually finally, like as of today, on the other side. It's the 13th of March. I'm sort of 717, as I say that, 717. um, I, I'm sort of just continuing to document life as it continues to happen for us and whatever can be, right? Because I'm almost a month into the Fire Horse year, and I have felt very frustrated by the fact that it doesn't really feel like things are happening. And things are finally starting to happen, at least a little bit. At least a little bit. I have an interview for a retreat center that also provides residency. So for like 5 months, you work there and you live there. Um, I'm not sure if they will hire me to do guest relations, which would be the role, uh, or something else, but it would be an opportunity to spend a summer doing just being around a number of like-minded people and getting out of Connecticut. And the thing is, even before that interview popped up, well, a couple things. One, the place itself came out of my therapist's mouth, and my therapist is a spiritually intuitive one. And I had heard of the place, but I hadn't considered applying to a place that does residence housing for people who work there. I did, and even as I did it, I got that really familiar like ping that happens. It genuinely happens right around here for me when something is very golden aligned. And that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen. That doesn't necessarily mean it's what will occur, but just the act of taking an action, applying to that type of a role. Um, because my express like main life goal right now is get out of Connecticut. Just get out. That's it. Get out. Get out of Connecticut. But after doing that, just applying to the job, there was just this sort of larger cascade effect between that, conversations with my husband about just what we both want and need and everything. And so we're also going to be putting our house on the market in the next couple of weeks, continuing to sell as much of the stuff as we can. Um, my entire next week is interview, meeting with a realtor, just a few other just like life happening things. And because that has all kicked off other conversations, it's even just resulted in the like, yeah, okay, I think we're ready to just take this jump, go live in our hometown for a while. Recoup some money because we won't be paying for a really expensive mortgage because we bought a house with a high mortgage rate because we weren't making smart decisions, right? We were making decisions that we thought were going to be fine and not life completely going off the rails. So the entire purpose of me putting myself on the internet is just an experiment to see what happens when I put myself on the internet. Um, could be good, could be bad. So far, it's been lovely and slow and gentle. There are 53 people who subscribe to my content, and I think that's incredible. I really appreciate every single one of you. And I know not every single person watches all of the videos, and my content's not really designed for that. Um, I just, my former internal family lived an entire life hidden because, well, they didn't know they had dissociative identity disorder. And then once they did, no one really cared, at least in our life. No one really cared. Our husband cared. He paid attention and he got to know everyone in here by name, but no one else did. And I don't want that to be my life or our life. And hence regular vlog and then whatever else wants to come out, because sometimes songs do, or channeled messages do, or just whatever. All I'm saying is today, right now, there is just this very constricted feeling of happiness. Oh my God, joy. Life is happening a little bit, but mixed in with the panic, the sheer panic of, but will it though? Will it? Will it? I don't know, because I also get internal messages that say, like, you're not going to be going to that place. You're not going to be doing this for the summer. You're not going to, that's not what you're going to be doing. And it's interesting to hear those conversations and hear those messages, because I ask, I'm like, is this for real? And I get the internal like, no, but by all means keep going through the motions. And it's like, you know what? Even if this is now fantasy, I don't have that interview until Tuesday. It's currently Friday. So I now get to live in the fantasy of, 5 days of believing I'm going to get the job and believing I'm going to be at this place for 5 months where I will be doing yoga and meditation and taking classes and just helping people who are coming themselves for classes in an area with not good cell reception where I can write. Oh, because that's the other thing. My, it's already on the, you know what? I'm going to get it. Hold on. My last day in the psych ward, they had composition books that we could have, and golf pencils, because pens are apparently too dangerous. It didn't start until like day 4, because I didn't know that they had composition books, and I didn't have a notebook with me because Randy just kept forgetting to bring me a notebook. But I started writing poetry while I was there, observational poetry, like feeling like I was a field reporter for anyone who's ever been curious what being in a psych ward is like. And I wrote a bunch of poems. It's like 50 some of them, 54 poems I think are in here. And I spent today, after getting the invitation for an interview, finally being like, you know what? I'm gonna type it up. I'm gonna publish it. And so I did. It's not through the review process yet on Amazon KDP, but by the time this video comes out, it will be. It's Poetry from the Psych Ward. Let me just tell you what the actual Poetry from the Psych Ward, subtitle: My fuck, why am I still forced to be here for more days than I've already served artistic expression? Yeah. And just because you're here, why not? Here's the first poem. Pens are dangerous. I feel like I already said this in another video, but whatever. I write with a golf pencil because pens are a mysterious danger. Markers are plentiful, yet unreliable, as caps return to keep the moisture is beyond the capacity of most, subdued by lithium and thorazine. My fingers crave the smooth flow of my preferred uniball, but there is a rekindling of childhood that a composition book and pencil provide. Perhaps I will befriend the pencil once more, or, better yet, I will appreciate my pens upon returning home. Yeah, it's all kind of like that. It's just, I didn't know what to do, and writing makes me feel better, so I just wrote while I was there. And all I can now imagine and vision myself doing is being at this place where I work. I get plant-based meals that are just there. I don't have to make them. I can just go to a buffet, and there they are. And then spend my other time getting to know people who are also kind of like us, even though I kind of doubt we're going to be with other collective beings while we're there. Will I disclose that we're a collective being? Definitely not in the interview, and probably not while we're there. That's what this is for. Anybody who comes across my my YouTube channel will get, a full like, whoa, didn't have any idea that's who you were. It's like, yeah, I know. I'm practicing living out loud on the internet. Eventually, I'll do it in person once it feels safe, because it doesn't yet. That's okay. but I'll write. And the opportunity to be at a place where I would actually be able to just have a regular yoga practice, because can I do it now? Yeah, obviously I can. Do I? No. I do sometimes. I don't do it every day. Why? I literally forget to. But when you're in an environment where that's like part of the deal of what you're doing, and there's not, every other distraction of just, your sad, pathetic life because you've been depressed and dealing with PTSD, like, oh, please hire me. Please hire me. Oh, I would send them this video if it wasn't too weird. I won't do that. And by the time this video comes out, I will either have probably been hired or not. I have no idea what their practices are. I have no idea how. I don't know. I don't know. And either way, I'm not like pinning. I'm not holding onto this so strongly that in the event that it doesn't occur, I will be devastated. No. But let me tell you, living in the lane of fantasy of this is where I will definitely be, it opened up all of these other potentials and all of these other, like, okay, fine. Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. We can fix that. We can do this. We can just deal. We can do it. And we haven't, neither of us have been in the place of feeling capable of doing anything. Not to do with selling the house, even though we've needed to, but any amount of moving costs a lot of money and takes a lot of like mental and emotional effort that we didn't have the capacity for. And now that I have this, driving at least the decisions of the next 5 days, we have enough headway. Things are actually happening. And as my therapist said, you can find spiritual therapists. You're the fire horse. You gotta saddle up. Sometimes people tell you to get a mentor, and everything in you is like, yeah, but how do I find a mentor? Therapist. Especially someone who's like been doing it for like 40 years, which is what I found. Amazing. Because I just needed a wise older woman to sit across from me and just tell me things that I could at least be like, no, or like, yes, I want, or just anything. Plus, I can't say that things haven't been moving. I found a therapist, and I started working another job. I got sick like immediately because working with children makes you sick immediately, but I've leveled up in at least a few ways, right? All right, just to see if there's are there any relevant messages for anybody that's watching this? Gaia here. Every video that Charlie makes on here is Charlie Begins. The rest of us aren't particularly interested in having a YouTube career. Part of why she speaks and part of why she shares her life, our life, is to remind you of how quickly things can change. And they may not go in the direction that you are assuming they will. It's completely understandable when you are feeling like you are drowning to jump from one impossible scenario to the next and allow yourself to live in the fantasy, just to see what else it inspires you to do. She always sounds so like wise. You do. You sound wise. But also that comes from like lived experience. And also I've spent the last 2 years feeling the constant feeling of jump from this and then this and then this and then this. So it is also very emotionally depleting to do that. Because you're hopeful and then your hopes get crushed. And then you're hopeful and then they get crushed. And then you're hopeful and then they get crushed. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this will actually be where I get to end up spending some of my life for the next few months, some of our life for the next few months. But even just seeing it as a potential avenue of what to do, where to go, how to live, and how specifically to get out of the thing that I'm wanting so badly to get out of, it made everything else feel more doable too. And I don't need to plan for everything, but I can at least sit here and imagine and dream and then take the steps that I need to take today and then tomorrow and the next day, because if this really is what's happening, and it is, at least the house sale part, putting it on the market part and like getting things out of here, like and preparing to go down to where, even if I don't go to this place, we're definitely going to be going to for at least a little while. Got to take a lot of actions, right? So, as always, I have no idea what's going to be coming next on this channel. Um, Things are constantly changing in here. I have a few new abilities that have like unlocked in recent weeks, and I'm still kind of piecing through that to figure out what that's all about. I'll talk about it more when it feels relevant too, but really and truly, to watch anything that I put out is to kind of follow the Akashic breadcrumbs of my particular trajectory. Um, and that trajectory is out of trauma, out of life being stuck, out of life being impossibly hard, and out of the void that calls and says, I don't want to keep living. Out. That's my direction. That's been my direction this entire time. That's been my direction. Continues to be my direction. And I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate you following along. I appreciate you clicking on whatever video feels like it resonates and then sticking around to hear whatever it is that I apparently need to talk about in my life. Thank you. Um, I hope to be of service in a bigger way at some point. Um, but for now, that's just us. Life is actually happening. I'm so excited and I'm so scared that it's not actually going to do anything. But either way, we're leaving Connecticut. It's happening. We're leaving Connecticut. And I'm pretty sure it'll be at least in the next 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe it'll be for this job. Maybe it'll just be because we follow along with the, well, fuck it. Or maybe something else will happen. Either way, big life goal. Get the fuck out of Connecticut. It's happening. It's happening. And we still can't afford for it to be. But hey, take the actions you can take, find the help you can find. And when you talk to your realtor and you're like, look, I can't afford to do like any of the stuff that I'm sure people want me to do to not only sell this house, but like whatever. So we got to figure something out, because I don't know. And that's what her job is, not mine. It's her job. It's her job to get a house sold that's clutter filled and smells like dog. Not mine. My job is just survive long enough to get the fuck out of here. And then possibly go into debt a little bit until the house actually sells, and then hopefully make up and accrue for that debt. I'm pretty sure this is all going to be a wash. Pretty sure. Giant headache for the worst goddamn experience I have ever had living somewhere. I'm sure this is not a house of torture and pain for everyone who has lived here. And I wouldn't even say it's necessarily been the case for us, except yes, it has. It is a house that has torn us apart in every possible way that it could. Hopefully the work that I've done here on myself has been a net positive for the place. Get to leave. We actually have a plan. Actually have a plan. And somehow we're actually being a team about it again. And we haven't been a team. My husband and I haven't been a team since before we moved in here. And that's also been shifting and changing and even if you have to put daily videos on YouTube just to remind yourself that there's a reason to keep living, I promise something will change. Just keep looking and keep trying to find people. And if you're not talking to a therapist that knows spiritual stuff and is like someone who can do intuitive healing or Reiki or something, look. Look for one of those. They are so much more helpful than you know. Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Just an update to say, life! Things are going! Yay! All right, well, I love you. We'll talk soon. Bye.